Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Soda here with the Autumn Windbags, back with another one. Lunchtime live. We're about to have a little lunch conversation. Um, Today, we're going to talk about Dante Thornton and about how he came to be a Raider and what to expect from him moving forward. A couple of things we want to look at here is first, there was a plan to grab one of these tall receivers. And it could have been a Jaden Higgins, Savion Williams, Trey Harris. It ended up being Dante Thornton. There was quite a few of these guys in the similar mold. One of the we'll get to that. There are some reasons that Dante Thornton fell, and I believe he was the last of those names that I said. He was the last of those guys selected in the draft. Even though he had really good measurables and really good combine numbers. One of the things that we got to take a look at here is scheme fit, also where he played, what the teams wanted to do, college in college and everything. And also, you got to take a look at just what the team needs were and kind of, who's calling the plays and stuff like that. So, we're going to get to all that. But before we do, want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's easy, it's quick, and it's absolutely free to do. Memberships are up. It's as low as $3 a month for memberships. Also, super chats are open here. If you have a question or you wanted to hop on a different topic, super chat is the best way to do that. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning here. So Dante Thornton goes to Oregon, okay? And at the time, they had a pretty high running offense, and Dante Thornton was trying to assimilate himself into that offense. He was a little thinner at the time when he was younger. He was still tall and fast, but he was just a little slim. They used him a lot as a blocker, okay? Um, he didn't really mesh with what was happening with Oregon at the time. So he decided to transfer into the transfer portal to Tennessee. Now, he didn't put up these huge numbers at Oregon, but he was still one of the most highly sought after players in the transfer portal the year that he transferred to Tennessee. Unfortunately, at Tennessee, a lot of the same thing happened. He was a guy that was used primarily as a blocker and also as a guy just to stretch the field. And if you guys saw my tape on Dante Thornton when I broke down some of his film at Tennessee, you see some of the skills that he has, and that it's not for lack of talent and ability. Um, he has talent, he has ability. It's just he wasn't put in the right situation. And that's one of the things we got to talk about too is putting these guys in the right positions to succeed. That's one of the things that I really like when I hear about Pete, I hear about Chip Kelly, I hear from Patrick Graham and even John Spytek is this first phase, right? The mini camps and the OTAs and all this stuff is getting to know what these guys can do well. And that may be different from what they did in college because a lot of times the college guys, I mean, and there's no knock against the college coaches, but they're just trying to win games and keep a job. I think, honestly, with the way college is going right now, I think secondary is developing players. The first thing is I got to win games because if I don't win games, it doesn't matter who I develop. I'm out of here, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to take a guy like a Dante Thornton and be like, look, you're going to help our offense the most by just running these post routes, running these deep nines, running those deep square ins, running these deep routes to be able to pull defenses and open up the rest of the field. And if you're open and the quarterback sees you, he'll throw you the ball. One thing that we cannot deny is numbers. Numbers are numbers. They're cold, hard facts. Now, you could twist different percentages, and he was this. The simpler the number, the better. The simpler the number, the least amount of wiggle room. Dante Thornton had 26 catches last season. 6 of those catches went for touchdowns. That's when they threw the ball to him. When they got the ball into Dante Thornton's hands in college, he scored touchdowns. I believe he led the NCAA with like something about 20 to 20. It was like it's in between 20 and 25. I don't know the exact number, but it was let's say 23. It was around 23 yards per reception. They primarily threw the ball deep to this kid, and if the defenses were able to play it correctly, the quarterback was trained and coached. Don't even look that direction. If he's being double covered, don't even look over there. Something else is open. That really hurt Dante Thornton's production. Where is this all going? This is all going because despite a lot of the physical traits that Dante Thornton has, I believe a lot of the scouts out there were scared off a little bit by the lack of production. And they felt because of that lack of production, he would have been available a little bit later in the draft. Now, I will tell you this. I have heard from multiple people that not only Darian Porter, but Dante Thornton later in the draft. I know a lot of people have been talking recently about how what's his name, Sean Payton, really wanted Ashton Genty. He wanted to trade up to get Ashton Genty. Well, a lot of people were wanting to trade up to get Darian Porter or to get Dante Thornton when we were the ones selecting. So that goes to show you these aren't guys that are just bums out there. And the fact that they played so well during OTAs and minicamp and were basically running with the starters goes to show you that these guys are guys that are going to be poised to be heavy contributors from day one. All right, let's get back to Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton was looked at as more of a project than anything. And this is something that I think we can all really just kind of wrap our heads around and take in our everyday life. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Now, there was an absence of evidence that Dante Thornton could run different routes, that he could be a bigger part of an offense, right? There's a lack of evidence as far as that goes. That doesn't mean that he can't do it. He just wasn't asked to do it. And that's a big thing, because when Dante Thornton showed up to OTAs and training camp and mini camp and all this stuff, he was running all the routes. He was sinking his hips during all the routes and everything. And the thing that we take a look at here is Dante Thornton is a guy that can do a lot more than he showed. All right. I think that the scouts with the Raiders saw it, and they were willing to use this pick for Dante Thornton because not only does Chip Kelly have a track record of being able to use different styles and different types of receivers in one offense, Pete Carroll also has a similar experience with DK Metcalf when he came out. He was a little bit raw as well. He was just kind of like a height, weight, speed guy. He had some production. I believe it was South Carolina. But when he came to Seattle, he was still kind of an unpolished thing there. What we're looking at with Dante Thornton is what I saw. If you haven't watched my tape on Dante Thornton, you after this is done, go watch it. Go find it and watch it. My game film breakdown of him. Whenever he was single covered, he was wide open. Now, doesn't mean that he was always throwing the ball, but whenever he was single covered, he was wide. I'm talking like yards open. Okay. He was even open a lot of times when he was double covered, but I believe that the quarterback was coached, do not throw it to him if he's double covered. And when he was able to create separation down the field, it just seemed effortless. He just kept running, and he just seemed like every stride he was gaining more and more separation from the defenders. There were times where the defenders had the angle on him, and he just outran them. And at 6'5", this is something that we need to really harness here at the Raiders. One of the other good things that I like about this pick in Dante Thornton is he didn't lose the ability to run block. That's one of the things that I think he had on the other receivers in this draft class that were in the same mold. The Tet McMillans, the Jaden Higgins, the Trey Harrises, the Savion Williams, those types of guys. Those are the bigger, faster type of receivers that were out there in this draft. He's bigger than them. He's faster than them. We got to take a look at how are the hands looking. That's something we have to take a look at when we start training camp and when we do the preseason. But if you're running with the ones right away, you're not a guy that's, a stone hands. Okay, you're going to go out there and you're going to be a guy that's going to be able to produce. So once the tape was broken down, you're like, this guy is special when you put the ball in his hands. Let's talk to his receivers coach. I did a video about that as well. Let's talk to his offensive coordinator. Let's talk to the head coach. What is going on with him? What was your offensive strategy? What was your offensive mindset? Why were you not giving this man more touches? Apparently, I'm not privy to that information, but you can deduce from what happened that the scouting team was pretty satisfied with the responses because they went ahead and took him in the 4th round. So you put all that together and you get a guy that can be one of the bigger steals in this draft. The thing that we take a look at here is, what do you have on this offense and how does it complement one another? Let's just say, for example, from what we were hearing, the majority of the time you had Dante Thornton on one end outside, you had Trey Tucker on the other end outside, and you had Jacoby Myers in the slot kind of moving around. If that's the case, you're going to see Dante Thornton doing a lot of what he did in college. And that's, I wouldn't say it's a good or bad thing. It just is what it is. If it isn't broke, why fix it, right? But I do believe in this. I do believe that the quarterback that we have now is a lot more comfortable throwing into double coverage. Also, I do believe that the offensive coordinator that we have is a lot more adept at finding targets for a player with the skill set of a Dante Thornton than what he had in college. So although he may be used in a similar way, he's going to get more touches and he's going to get more opportunity. And these touches and opportunity are going to be big time, because when you see somebody with that size and speed and the ability, you're going to want to get the ball in his hands. And Chip Kelly does know how to get his players the ball in their hands in space. So that kind of sheds a little bit of light on Dante Thornton. On, a lot of people I've been hearing, the reason why I did this video is a lot of people are saying, well, if he was so good, why wasn't he picked in this 1st round or 2nd round or whatever? I think I pretty good well explained why Dante Thornton was a little bit of a sleeper pick. Also, what led to him having the production that he did in college. Also, what the scouts were looking for, and when they're targeting somebody, when they have their eye on somebody, they talk to everybody. They talk to their high school coaches, they talk to their friends, they talk to anybody they can get their hands on. They talk to these guys because these guys are a multi-million-dollar investment. Okay, so you're going to have to make sure that you get it right. One of the things that we need to look at with Dante Thornton is, how is he being used early in games, and how does that affect the latter part of the game? I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to match up with a Dante Thornton because you have him on the outside, and then you have a Brock Bowers who you have to double a lot of times as well. So it's going to be a lot of kind of floating defenses, and I think the defense's biggest weapon against our offense is going to be to distract or to confuse Geno Smith with the coverages. Geno Smith is a vet. I think he's going to be able to handle that just fine. And I think we're going to have Dante Thornton be an integral part to this offense, who I think is going to have a big resurgence this season. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Become a member if you haven't already. And in the future, if you want to go ahead and get a question answered or make a comment and have it read live, or you have another topic you want to talk about, the super chats are always open during these lives. But yeah, man, make sure to tell everybody about the autumn windbags. And that's my time for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the live chat. So next time, everybody, peace.